Apparently, ordering takeout now includes full control over traffic patterns, weather conditions, and the driver's facial expressions. One woman demanded curbside delivery to her third-floor balcony, and that's barely number 3. Trust me, it only spirals from here. 1. A tightly wound suburban mother in a gated community ordered groceries through an app and then left detailed instructions that said, "Ring bell softly, baby sleeping." The driver followed the note exactly. He placed the bags down carefully and tapped the doorbell once. She opened the door, furious. She said the word softly was clearly emotional, not literal. She claimed the bell vibration had disrupted her child's nap schedule, and now her entire evening routine was destroyed. The driver blinked and explained he had followed the written instructions. She said a professional would have sensed the emotional weight behind her wording. She demanded a partial refund for sleep interruption damages and asked for the driver's full name for documentation. Customer support calmly explained that ringing the bell once was standard procedure and within policy. She accused the company of lacking maternal sensitivity training and promised a detailed review about negligence, because obviously the doorbell should have read the room better. 2. An image-conscious lifestyle blogger in a downtown condo ordered sushi for a sponsored dinner post. The driver arrived within the promised window. She opened the door, stared at the insulated bag, and immediately complained that the driver's car was not aesthetically aligned with her brand. She said she saw him pull up in a compact sedan instead of a sleek vehicle. She insisted that deliveries to her address should reflect premium presentation. The driver calmly explained that the vehicle type has no effect on food safety or timeliness. She said image is everything and that her followers expect consistency. She demanded a credit because the arrival felt budget. Support told her the service guarantees delivery, not ambiance. She then threatened to tag the company in a post about low standards and uncurated experiences. The driver stood there holding perfectly fine sushi while she debated brand alignment, because nothing ruins raw tuna like a 4-door sedan. 3. A retired office manager in a quiet suburb ordered dinner during light rain. When the driver arrived a few minutes later than estimated due to traffic, she stepped outside and began lecturing him about route planning. She said she had been tracking his movement on the app and noticed he paused at a red light for too long. He explained that traffic signals are not optional and safety is required. She insisted that experienced drivers anticipate patterns and choose faster corridors. He showed her the updated arrival time in the app. She said the estimate was a promise, not a suggestion. She demanded a discount for lost personal time. Customer service politely explained that minor delays during weather are expected and within policy guidelines. She accused the company of false advertising and said she would contact consumer protection, all because the rain did not part for her dinner schedule. 4. A fitness-focused executive in a luxury apartment complex ordered a protein bowl and added a note that said, "Call upon arrival." The driver called twice with no answer. After several minutes, he left the food with the concierge as allowed by building policy. She later called support, furious. She claimed the driver should have known she was in a silent meditation session and unable to answer. She said the act of leaving the food downstairs disrupted her fasting window because she had to walk to retrieve it. The driver calmly explained he followed instructions and waited the required time. She argued that premium customers deserve patience beyond policy limits. Support reminded her that extended waits impact other deliveries. She accused them of discriminating against wellness professionals. She demanded loyalty credits for emotional inconvenience. Apparently, mindfulness requires everyone else to wait quietly too. 5. A meticulous neighborhood HOA president ordered a large grocery delivery and then complained that the driver parked briefly in front of a fire hydrant while unloading. The engine was off and the hazard lights were on. The delivery took under 3 minutes. She confronted the driver and said he was setting a terrible example for the community. He apologized and explained it was the closest safe spot, and he remained with the vehicle. She insisted rules are absolute and demanded he move immediately mid-unload. Later, she filed a complaint stating reckless parking endangered lives. The company reviewed the GPS and timestamp and confirmed the stop was short and compliant with local allowances. She still demanded disciplinary action and threatened to escalate to city authorities. The driver just wanted to hand over her 12 bags of organic produce, because nothing says civic collapse like a parked car for 180 seconds. 6. A corporate attorney working from home ordered lunch and selected contactless delivery. When the driver left the bag at her door and sent the photo confirmation, she called within seconds saying the angle of the photo was unprofessional. She said it made her entryway look narrow and poorly lit. The driver explained the photo is for proof of delivery only. She insisted that as a paying customer, she deserved better representation of her property. Support clarified that drivers are not trained in real estate photography. She then argued that the image could negatively affect her if shared publicly. They assured her the photo remains within the app. She demanded it be retaken from a more flattering perspective. The driver, already en route to another order, declined as policy requires one confirmation photo. She threatened to pursue a complaint about digital misuse, because apparently even the doormat needs better lighting. 7. A stay-at-home. Parent juggling 3 children ordered fast food during a busy weekend night. The app showed high demand and extended delivery times. The driver arrived within the estimated range. She opened the door, visibly irritated, and said her children were now emotionally destabilized due to waiting. The driver apologized and noted the app clearly indicated delays. She said warnings do not excuse hunger-related meltdowns. She demanded the company reimburse her for the parenting stress caused by anticipation. Support explained surge times are disclosed before checkout. She claimed that by accepting her order, they implicitly agreed to meet her family's schedule. When told no refund was applicable, she announced she would leave a 1-star review describing child neglect by proxy. The driver had delivered hot food as promised. Apparently, he was also responsible for bedtime peace negotiations. 8. A recently divorced woman in a high-rise apartment ordered wine and required ID verification at the door. When the driver requested identification, she sighed dramatically and said she was clearly over 21. He explained company policy mandates scanning a valid ID for alcohol. She accused him of profiling her and implied he doubted her maturity. He calmly repeated the requirement and waited. She reluctantly handed over her ID, but then demanded compensation for the inconvenience of retrieving her wallet. She said loyal customers should have exemptions. Support confirmed no exceptions exist for age-restricted items. She threatened to report discriminatory behavior for being asked to prove her age. The driver simply followed legal procedure, because verifying identity is apparently a personal attack now. 9. A high-maintenance event planner ordered catering trays for a small gathering. The driver arrived on time and carried the trays carefully. She immediately complained that he did not smile broadly enough when handing over the food. She said her guests were watching from inside and first impressions matter. The driver, slightly confused, apologized and said he focused on balancing the hot trays safely. She insisted that customer service includes emotional presentation. She contacted support, claiming the driver's neutral expression created an unwelcoming atmosphere. Support noted that delivery personnel are not required to perform hospitality beyond safe and timely drop-off. She demanded a partial refund for lack of enthusiasm and said she would reconsider using the platform for future events. The driver had simply delivered dinner without theatrical flair. Apparently, he was supposed to arrive with a spotlight and applause. 10. A detail-obsessed tech consultant tracked her delivery in real time and noticed the driver made a brief stop before reaching her house. She confronted him at the door and demanded to know why he diverted. He explained he was completing another delivery in the same route cluster. She argued that her order should have been prioritized because she selected Express. He clarified that Express shortens the window but does not eliminate batching when efficient. She insisted that paying extra entitled her to exclusive transit. Support confirmed the policy and explained route optimization ensures faster overall service. She accused the company of deceptive marketing and threatened a chargeback. The driver remained polite while she questioned his professionalism for following the assigned path, because clearly the algorithm should revolve around one address. 11. A former retail supervisor in a suburban townhouse ordered late-night dessert and then called the driver repeatedly while he was en route. She asked for constant updates beyond what the app provided. He explained he was driving and would arrive within the stated window. When he pulled up, she criticized his parking alignment and said, "Attention to detail reflects work ethic." He apologized and handed over the order. She then inspected the receipt and claimed the total felt higher than expected, even though it matched her digital confirmation. Support reviewed the transaction and confirmed all charges were disclosed. She accused them of predatory pricing and demanded a supervisor. When told no refund was warranted, she said she would escalate to corporate leadership and referenced her years in management. The driver just wanted to complete the drop-off, because obviously he controls corporate pricing strategy from his front seat. 12. A self-described community activist ordered groceries and requested that the driver avoid using plastic bags for environmental reasons. The store packed the items before pickup. The driver arrived with the standard packaging provided. She scolded him at the door for contributing to landfill waste. He explained he does not control store packaging and suggested contacting the retailer. She insisted that, as the final link in the chain, he bore responsibility. Support reiterated that packaging decisions are made at store level. She demanded the driver take the plastic back and repack everything into reusable containers she had inside. He explained he could not repack items due to food safety policy. She threatened to write a public post accusing the company of ignoring sustainability. The driver stood there holding groceries he did not package, because environmental reform clearly starts with the person ringing the bell. 13. A recently promoted manager in a new development ordered breakfast before an early meeting. The driver arrived within the window, but the coffee was slightly warm rather than steaming. She claimed this indicated negligence in transport. He explained that travel time affects temperature and insulated carriers were used. She said premium service should anticipate heat retention challenges. Support offered a small credit as courtesy. She rejected it and demanded full reimbursement for substandard thermal management. She said the inconvenience disrupted her professional readiness. The driver had delivered the order within policy guidelines. She then insisted on filing a formal complaint to ensure retraining of drivers on beverage physics, because apparently he should have brought a laboratory-grade heating system in the passenger seat. 14. A meticulous grandmother hosting visiting relatives ordered pastries and asked that the driver knock firmly so she could hear from the kitchen. He knocked twice at a normal volume. She opened the door, upset, and said the knock lacked urgency. She explained that she had been watching through the window and expected more enthusiasm. He apologized and said he did not want to disturb neighbors. She insisted that clear communication requires assertiveness. She later contacted support claiming the driver appeared hesitant and that it caused confusion during her hosting duties. Support confirmed the order was delivered properly and on time. She demanded assurance that future drivers would knock with confidence. The driver simply followed standard courtesy. Apparently, door knocking now requires performance coaching. 15. A busy real estate agent ordered lunch between showings and instructed the driver to meet her at the curb. When he arrived, she was still inside finishing a call. He waited the allotted time and attempted contact. She emerged irritated and accused him of impatience. He explained that extended waits can affect other deliveries. She said her schedule was high value and should be prioritized. Support clarified that drivers cannot exceed the timer without impact. She demanded a refund for rushed service and claimed his body language suggested annoyance. He had simply checked his phone for the next route. She threatened to leave feedback about unprofessional demeanor, because checking the time is apparently hostile now. 16. A luxury condo resident ordered late-night snacks and requested quiet drop-off due to thin walls. The driver placed the bag gently and sent the photo. Moments later, she called furious that the notification sound from the app disturbed her dog. He explained app alerts are controlled by user settings. She insisted the driver should have texted instead of completing the standard confirmation. Support confirmed notification preferences are managed on her device. She demanded compensation for the dog's agitation and said pet distress counts as service failure. The driver had followed every instruction precisely, because the app's default tone is clearly his personal decision. 17. A first-time customer in a newly built suburb ordered dinner and selected leave at door. After delivery, she claimed she never received the order despite the photo showing the correct address and welcome mat. The driver confirmed GPS location and timestamp. She argued the image could have been staged. Support reviewed the data and saw no irregularities. She then suggested the driver might have taken the food back after photographing it. The company explained that such actions are tracked and rare. She demanded a refund and hinted at filing a fraud complaint if denied. When told the evidence supported successful delivery, she threatened to dispute the charge with her bank. The driver had already moved on to another neighborhood, because apparently documented proof is just a suggestion when dinner does not go your way. 18. A high-strung marketing director in a new townhouse development ordered dinner during peak hours and watched the driver's route like a live sports event. When she saw the car pause 2 streets away, she stormed outside before he even parked. She accused him of intentionally delaying her order to increase his hourly pay. He calmly explained that drivers are paid per delivery and that traffic lights and stop signs are not optional. She began recording him on her phone and announced she was documenting service manipulation. He showed her the app's timestamp and confirmed he arrived within the estimated window. She insisted the estimate was a legal agreement and said she would forward the video to corporate and her attorney. Support later reviewed the data and confirmed no delay occurred. She demanded a refund for emotional distress caused by perceived inefficiency, because nothing says consumer advocacy like filming a stranger for obeying traffic laws. 19. A recently engaged bride to be in a luxury apartment ordered catering trays for a planning meeting. The driver arrived exactly on time and carried everything carefully. She opened the door and immediately complained that the food containers were stacked in a way that felt chaotic. He explained they were secured to prevent spills during transport. She said presentation impacts her stress levels and that she expected delivery to mirror wedding day precision. Support confirmed packaging is standardized by the restaurant. She then claimed the stress spike could affect her skin before her engagement photos. She demanded a full refund, citing pre-event emotional harm. When told the order was intact and complete, she threatened to blast the company across bridal forums and tag them in a cautionary post about unreliable vendors. The driver stood there holding untouched trays while she lectured him about aesthetics. Apparently, bubble wrap now needs a mood board. 20. A self-declared consumer rights advocate in a suburban duplex ordered dinner and added a note requesting the driver remove his shoes at the door. When he arrived, he remained outside and handed over the order without entering. She insisted he step inside and place the bag directly on her kitchen counter. He explained company policy prohibits entering private homes for safety reasons. She accused him of implying her home was unsafe. Support reiterated the no-entry rule. She began quoting sections of general consumer protection law that had nothing to do with delivery protocols. She demanded to speak with a supervisor and said refusal to enter constituted discrimination against homeowners. When told the policy applies universally, she threatened to contact local news about declining service standards. The driver simply declined to cross the threshold, because clearly dinner delivery now includes interior decorating privileges. 21. A dramatic lifestyle coach in a downtown loft ordered smoothies and watched the driver approach through her building's glass entrance. She claimed he did not look enthusiastic enough while walking toward the door. After receiving the order, she called support and said his energy felt negative and disrupted her manifestation space. The driver had said hello and confirmed her name politely. She insisted tone carries intention and that his neutral expression created a hostile environment. Support explained drivers are required to deliver safely and courteously, which he did. She escalated and demanded a psychological sensitivity training program be implemented. She threatened to post a long video about how the company tolerates low-vibration employees. The driver had simply completed the transaction. Apparently, facial neutrality is now grounds for corporate reform. 22. A fiercely protective mother in a cul-de-sac ordered dinner for her family and asked for contactless drop-off. The driver left the food and stepped back as instructed. She opened the door and accused him of standing too close to her porch railing. He explained he remained at a reasonable distance and followed the app timer. She claimed his presence within visual range made her children uncomfortable. Support reviewed the delivery photo, which showed standard positioning. She then suggested his proximity violated her family's right to privacy. When told that drivers must wait briefly to confirm pickup, she demanded compensation for child anxiety. She hinted at filing a police report for loitering if the company did not apologize. The driver had waited less than 30 seconds, because apparently gravity itself should move him off the property instantly. 23. A retired accountant in a gated retirement community ordered groceries and insisted the driver carry them inside to her pantry. He politely declined and cited safety policy. She grew visibly irritated and said she had arthritis, and that refusal constituted a failure to accommodate. He suggested contacting the platform for accessibility options. Support explained that drivers are not authorized to enter homes, but offered guidance on alternative services. She accused them of violating disability laws and began recording the call. She demanded written confirmation of the refusal to assist. When the representative calmly repeated policy, she threatened to pursue legal action for discrimination. The driver stood outside holding bags she had already paid for, because apparently liability boundaries are a personal insult. 24. A status-conscious executive in a luxury high-rise ordered dinner and required the driver to use the service elevator. When he arrived, building security directed him to the designated entrance as standard procedure. She later complained that the driver did not insist on using the main lobby because her guests were present. He explained he followed building rules. She argued that premium customers deserve visible front door service. Support clarified that drivers must comply with property management instructions. She accused the company of undermining her social standing and threatened to cancel her subscription publicly. She said she expected a refund for reputational inconvenience. The driver had simply obeyed the security guard. Apparently, hierarchy now extends to elevator selection. 25. A detail-obsessed fitness influencer ordered meal prep containers and began weighing them after delivery. She claimed one portion felt lighter than expected. The driver explained he does not prepare the food and cannot verify portion weight. She insisted he remain while she recalculated macros. Support confirmed nutritional disputes must be addressed with the restaurant. She demanded the driver return the entire order and refund it on the spot. When told he could not process refunds directly, she began filming him and accusing him of participating in deceptive practices. She threatened to report the company to regulatory authorities for nutritional fraud. The driver waited calmly before leaving, as instructed by support, because apparently he is also a certified dietitian with a portable scale. 26. A recently relocated attorney in a suburban neighborhood ordered dinner during a minor road closure. The driver navigated around construction and arrived 5 minutes past the earliest estimate but within the stated window. She opened the door and immediately cited breach of contract. He explained the window provided a range, not a fixed minute. She insisted the earliest time listed created a performance obligation. Support calmly clarified the policy language displayed at checkout. She demanded written confirmation of the exact definition of estimated. When told the delivery complied with terms, she threatened formal legal correspondence and requested the driver's full identification for documentation. The driver had simply detoured around orange cones. Apparently, asphalt construction now triggers litigation. 27. A tightly organized PTA leader ordered coffee and pastries for a school planning meeting. The driver arrived with everything intact. She complained that the coffee carrier did not match the school's color theme. He explained packaging is determined by the cafe. She said cohesive branding is essential for community morale. Support reiterated that customization beyond menu options is not guaranteed. She demanded a refund for aesthetic inconsistency and said she would inform other parents to avoid the platform. When told the order met all functional standards, she announced she would leave a detailed review about lack of partnership values. The driver had delivered hot coffee on time. Apparently, cardboard shades now require committee approval. 28. A frustrated remote worker in a townhouse complex ordered lunch and then missed the driver's call because she was on a video meeting. The driver waited the allotted time and left the food at the door. She later claimed he should have known she was in a professional setting and tried again. He explained he followed the call and timer protocol. She argued that corporate clients deserve extended courtesy. Support confirmed all customers received the same timing standards. She demanded compensation for having to reheat her meal. When denied a full refund, she threatened to contact her credit card company and dispute the charge as incomplete service. The driver had done exactly what the app instructed, because clearly, psychic scheduling is part of onboarding. 29. A socially competitive neighbor in a master-planned community ordered gourmet burgers and insisted the driver park in her driveway to avoid street clutter. He declined and parked legally on the road. She confronted him and claimed street parking lowers property value optics. He explained drivers cannot block driveways or assume private access. Support confirmed parking decisions must comply with local laws. She threatened to report his vehicle for trespassing, despite him never entering her driveway. She demanded a credit for visual disruption. The driver stood beside his legally parked car holding her order, because suburban harmony now hinges on curb positioning. 30. A dramatic widow in a quiet neighborhood ordered dinner on the anniversary of her husband's passing. When the driver arrived within the time window, she accused him of being insensitive for not acknowledging the emotional significance of the date. He politely said he was unaware and offered condolences once informed. She insisted he should have sensed the solemn mood. Support explained drivers are not provided with personal background details. She demanded a refund citing emotional mishandling of a memorial evening. When told the service was fulfilled properly, she threatened to publish a story about corporate coldness toward grieving families. The driver had simply delivered pasta. Apparently, empathy now requires mind reading. 31. A vocal community forum moderator ordered groceries and then accused the driver of selecting bruised produce. He explained the store packs items prior to pickup. She insisted drivers should inspect each item for quality assurance. Support clarified that substitutions and quality concerns must be reported through the app. She demanded the driver return immediately to exchange the produce personally. When told he was already on another delivery, she began posting in her neighborhood group about declining service standards. She tagged the company and urged others to reconsider using the platform. The driver had transported sealed bags from store to door, because apparently supply chain oversight now fits in a hatchback. 32. A micromanaging small business owner ordered lunch and required the driver to call upon arrival. He called twice with no answer and waited. When she finally emerged, she accused him of impatience and said repeated calls disrupt productivity. He explained the calls were per her instruction. She insisted professional judgment should override literal reading of notes. Support confirmed drivers must follow written requests. She demanded the removal of his profile from future orders to her address and asked for a courtesy credit. When denied additional compensation, she threatened to escalate to regional management and claimed brand damage. The driver had simply dialed the number provided. Apparently, following instructions is now insubordination. 33. A luxury apartment resident hosting a book club ordered wine and snacks. The driver requested ID verification as required. She rolled her eyes and said asking for identification in front of guests was embarrassing. He calmly explained that scanning ID is mandatory for alcohol. Support confirmed no exceptions can be made. She demanded a refund for public humiliation and said she would share her experience with her social circle. When told policy is uniform for all customers, she threatened to label the company ageist for implying she might be underage. The driver had followed state law, because compliance apparently needs discretion coaching. 34. A high-conflict divorcee in a townhouse development ordered dinner and later claimed the driver placed the bag too close to her ex-spouse's parked car in the driveway. He had simply followed the drop-off instructions near the front door. She insisted the proximity was emotionally triggering. Support reviewed the delivery photo, which showed standard placement. She demanded a refund for psychological distress caused by the bag's location. When told the service was completed properly, she threatened to file a complaint alleging targeted harassment. The driver had no knowledge of her personal history, because clearly, spatial awareness now includes relationship counseling. 35. A high-income consultant in a gated waterfront community ordered a large seafood dinner and selected priority delivery. The driver arrived within the promised window and followed the gate access instructions exactly. When he handed over the order, she began inspecting the bags like a customs officer. She claimed the seafood smell was stronger than expected and accused the driver of tampering with the containers during transport. He calmly explained the bags were sealed by the restaurant and remained in an insulated carrier the entire time. She said she could not trust verbal assurances and demanded he open the containers in front of her for inspection. He declined due to food safety policy. She immediately began recording him and announced she was documenting potential contamination. Support reviewed the order and confirmed there were no reports from the restaurant. She demanded the driver be suspended pending investigation and threatened to contact the health department. The driver stood quietly while she narrated her own documentary, because clearly the person driving the car is now head of seafood forensics. 36. A recently retired judge in a suburban estate ordered dinner during a neighborhood power outage. The driver navigated dark streets and delivered the food safely. She opened the door holding a flashlight and immediately criticized him for not offering to check her generator setup. He explained he is not authorized to enter homes or perform mechanical assistance. She said community responsibility should override corporate policy. Support reiterated that drivers are contracted for delivery only. She responded by citing civic duty and implied negligence for failing to assist during an emergency. When told again that entering private property is prohibited, she threatened to file a complaint with local authorities for abandonment during crisis conditions. The driver had delivered hot food through a blackout. Apparently, electrical engineering is now bundled with appetizers. 37. A fiercely outspoken homeowner in a quiet cul-de-sac ordered groceries and demanded the driver avoid stepping on her decorative walkway stones. He carefully placed the bags near the entrance without touching the stones. She emerged and claimed he stood too close to her landscaping and may have compacted the soil. He apologized and explained he remained on the driveway. She said the visual proximity alone was disruptive to her garden design. Support reviewed the photo confirmation and saw no damage. She insisted that property boundaries extend beyond physical contact. When told no refund would be issued, she threatened to sue for potential landscaping harm and demanded written acknowledgement of the incident. The driver had not touched a single plant, because now, even oxygen near hydrangeas is a legal matter. 38. A corporate compliance officer in a downtown condo ordered lunch and then complained that the driver's profile photo on the app did not match her expectations of professionalism. He arrived on time and greeted her politely. She later contacted support, claiming his casual appearance in the photo undermined brand integrity. Support explained that drivers are independent contractors and must meet basic conduct standards, which he did. She demanded the company implement stricter appearance guidelines and remove him from the platform. When told there was no policy violation, she threatened to escalate to consumer advocacy groups for deceptive representation. She also posted his first name publicly in a neighborhood forum, questioning his credibility. The driver had delivered a sandwich without incident. Apparently, corporate governance now includes hairstyle oversight. 39. A dramatic small-town boutique owner ordered dinner and claimed the driver did not greet her with sufficient courtesy. He had said hello and confirmed her name before handing over the order. She insisted that his tone lacked gratitude for her business. Support confirmed that the transaction was completed professionally. She then drove to the restaurant parking lot where drivers wait between orders and confronted him loudly in front of others. She accused him of disrespect and demanded a public apology. He remained calm and stated he followed protocol. She threatened to call the police for harassment if he did not apologize on camera. The police arrived, listened, and explained no wrongdoing occurred. She demanded a written incident report anyway. The driver had simply delivered dinner, because clearly enthusiasm levels now require law enforcement mediation. 40. A status-driven social media personality ordered late-night dessert and complained that the driver did not respond instantly to her direct messages within the app. He was driving and arrived safely within the time range. She accused him of ignoring her and creating anxiety through delayed replies. Support explained drivers are instructed not to text while driving. She claimed safety policy was an excuse for poor communication. When denied compensation, she began live streaming herself outside her building claiming corporate negligence. She demanded viewers boycott the service until drivers receive mandatory communication training. The driver had prioritized road safety. Apparently, safe driving is now a personality flaw. 41. A territorial homeowner in a suburban development ordered dinner and accused the driver of trespassing because his tires briefly crossed the edge of her driveway while turning around. He apologized and clarified he needed space to exit safely. She insisted that any tire contact constituted property violation. Support confirmed that minor maneuvering during delivery is not trespass. She called the non-emergency police line and demanded an officer respond. The officer arrived, reviewed the situation, and calmly explained no crime occurred. She insisted on filing a report anyway. The driver waited in silence while she described the incident as a breach of her rights, because obviously a three-point turn now threatens national security. 42. A combative condo board member ordered wine and snacks for a meeting. When the driver requested ID, she refused and accused him of targeting her because she is a woman of authority. He explained, "State law requires ID verification for alcohol." Support repeated the legal requirement. She began recording and accusing the company of discrimination. When the driver declined to hand over the alcohol without ID, she called building security and demanded they escort him out. Security confirmed he was following legal protocol. She threatened to contact the Attorney General's office for civil rights violations. The driver returned the wine to his vehicle as instructed, because asking for identification is apparently oppression now. 43. A high-conflict divorce lawyer in a gated neighborhood ordered dinner and later claimed the driver placed the bag on the wrong side of her porch. The photo showed it near the door handle. She argued the placement forced her to step outside at an inconvenient angle. Support confirmed proper delivery. She then threatened to file a small claims lawsuit for failure to follow reasonable instructions. When told the company would contest such a claim, she demanded the driver's full legal name and address. He declined and referred her to support. She began sending certified letters to corporate headquarters alleging negligence. The driver had positioned a bag near the door, because spatial preference now requires litigation strategy. 44. A hypervigilant parent in a quiet neighborhood ordered groceries and accused the driver of photographing her child in the background of the delivery confirmation. The image showed only the front porch. She insisted that even the possibility of incidental capture violated privacy law. Support reviewed the image and confirmed no child appeared. She demanded written certification that the company does not store images of minors. When told photos are limited to delivery proof, she threatened to report the company to federal authorities. The driver had taken a standard porch photo. Apparently, imaginary photo bombing now triggers constitutional debates. 45. A wealthy retiree in a luxury condo ordered dinner and then refused to come downstairs when the driver arrived because she did not want to use the elevator during peak hours. Building policy prohibited drivers from accessing upper floors. He waited the allotted time and attempted contact. She demanded he remain until the elevator cleared. Support confirmed the waiting timer could not be extended indefinitely. She accused the company of age discrimination and threatened to contact a civil rights attorney. When the timer expired and the order was marked undeliverable, she called the police claiming abandonment of paid goods. Officers arrived and explained it was a contractual dispute, not a crime. The driver had followed procedure, because apparently elevator timing now requires emergency response. 46. A relentless neighborhood activist ordered lunch and then accused the driver of idling too long outside her home. He had parked for less than a minute with the engine running during drop-off. She claimed environmental harm and began filming the exhaust pipe. He apologized and turned off the engine immediately. Support confirmed short idling during active delivery is permitted. She demanded proof of emissions compliance and threatened to report him to the Environmental Protection Agency. She followed him down the street recording his license plate. The driver had delivered food and left within moments. Because climate policy now unfolds one sandwich at a time. 47. A furious corporate executive in a downtown penthouse ordered a large catered lunch for a board meeting. When the driver arrived, security required check-in and photo ID as standard building policy. The process added 3 minutes. She stormed into the lobby and accused the driver of embarrassing her in front of colleagues by not bypassing security. He explained he must follow building rules. She began shouting that she pays premium fees and demanded he be fired immediately. Support confirmed he complied with all protocols. She then called corporate headquarters and threatened a lawsuit for reputational damage during a business meeting. She insisted the driver provide a written apology for lost executive credibility. He had waited patiently at a security desk, because clearly corporate hierarchy should override front desk policy. 48. A dramatic homeowner in a lakeside property ordered dinner and claimed the driver's headlights shined briefly into her living room window during arrival. He explained he turned into the driveway and parked safely. She insisted the light exposure disrupted her evening ambiance and startled her dog. Support confirmed normal vehicle lighting during approach is unavoidable. She demanded a refund and immediate disciplinary action. When denied, she called local police reporting suspicious vehicle activity. Officers arrived, reviewed the delivery log, and confirmed it was a routine drop-off. She insisted on filing a formal complaint about harassment by illumination. The driver had used headlights at night. Apparently, visibility is now aggression. 49. A combative apartment resident ordered dinner and then accused the driver of profiling her because he asked her to confirm her unit number. He explained multiple units share the same entry and he needed verification. She began recording and alleging discriminatory intent. Support reviewed the chat history and saw he politely requested clarification. She demanded the driver be removed from the platform for bias. When told there was no evidence of misconduct, she threatened to file a civil rights complaint and contact media outlets. She refused to end the call until a supervisor intervened. The driver had simply asked for the correct door, because confirming an address now requires a press conference. 50. A status-conscious influencer hosting a live stream ordered dinner and instructed the driver to wait off camera until she was ready to film the handoff. He arrived within the time range and informed her he could not extend the wait due to other orders. She went live and accused him of sabotaging her content schedule. Support reiterated that drivers cannot pause routes for filming. She demanded a refund for lost sponsorship value and insisted the driver participate in a staged redelivery for her audience. When he declined and left after the timer expired, she called police claiming theft of paid goods. Officers reviewed the app and confirmed the order was marked undeliverable after refusal to retrieve. The driver had followed policy exactly. Apparently, cinematic timing now falls under criminal law. 51. A high-powered attorney in a gated mansion ordered an expensive multi-course meal and claimed after delivery that the driver knocked too loudly, causing her security system to activate. He explained he knocked at standard volume after ringing the bell with no response. She insisted the knock constituted intentional disturbance. Support reviewed the delivery notes and confirmed standard procedure. She immediately threatened a formal lawsuit, alleging property damage due to alarm activation fees. She demanded the driver's full legal identity and the company's insurance information. When told claims must go through corporate channels, she sent a cease and desist letter to headquarters and posted online accusing the company of reckless conduct. The driver had knocked on a door, because clearly knuckles on wood now require legal counsel. 51 deliveries, 0 self-awareness. If this felt familiar, you've met one. Comment your worst encounter and subscribe for the next round of polite chaos.